Welcome back. And it ended into my previous devlog where I talked about the whole proxy being spelt wrong thing. The more I thought about it and the more I tried to write tests, the more I realized that my previous attempt at fixing it was actually invalid. And the reason behind that is because the connection refuse status from the proxy might be transient. Let's say the proxy server is restarting or had a configuration update or something, and it refused just one connection. We don't want to not retry in that scenario. We do want to retry. So I backed out all of that code. It sometimes happens, typical Monday in development. And I've reapproached the problem from the scenario of like, what do we want to happen? So what we want to happen is that when the proxy URL is clearly incorrect, we know about it as quickly as possible and we can act upon it before the rest of Resonite starts up. Because when Resonite starts up, it, fetches contacts, items, assets, images, etc. And there's a lot of web requests going off. And if the proxy is incorrect, then it's going to just cascade failure. It's called like thundering herd as a sort of technical problem, right? So that's why the logs get crazy when there's an incorrect proxy address. So instead, I was like, well, what if we just provided the option to test the proxy before we use it and mark it as required? And that allows us to do some great things. So if we look at the code change, this is part of the engine initialization. What we're doing here is we're saying, hey, if your proxy configuration asks that we test the proxy before use, then we use our cloud instance to test the proxy. And if that fails, hence this not here, we can then take a look. We can see, hey, is this proxy required? If it is, we're going to throw an actual exception. And if it is not required, then we'll just log a warning. Maybe the next request will succeed, or maybe something will happen else there. And what this means is with these particular settings here, where we have an invalid proxy address, this proxy address doesn't exist, and it's required. If we go ahead and we run the headless, we can see that it starts up. There's a bit of debugging low code there for a previous build. And right now it's actually testing the proxy. I'm going to add a message which says testing proxy URL. And the fact that this is taking a long time is just because it's an invalid proxy, right? The underlying socket connections are trying to reach this proxy.test.com and failing to do so multiple times. And there we go. The headless has actually crashed because we told it to. Skyfrost web proxy test failed and proxy is marked as required, halting initialization. It tells you exactly where that initialization failed, and there's no like, hey, fetching assets or anything like that. So the scenario for using this is corporate environments where a proxy is required. We know ahead of time a proxy is required, and if the proxy isn't there, nothing's going to work. We can just set those two flags, and then it will bail out quickly and bail out fast without a lot of mess in the logs. To show you the problem when this feature wasn't available, what we can do here is go to false and false here. And then we can restart the headless. So now everything here looks like it's running okay. But in a little while, yep, here we go. It just starts doing this stuff. And the reason it's doing this stuff is because it can't connect because the proxy's failing. And if you're like a sysadmin trying to figure out what's going on here, you're just going to see the same stuff over and over and over again because of our retry logic. It's like, hey, did not properly respond, could not connect to the proxy, right? So it's clear what's going on, but it doesn't stop. It's just going to keep going. In fact, it's done more. So it's done more and more and more, and it'll keep doing more and stuff like that. Should we also fix that problem? Like if there's a catastrophic network failure, maybe don't do all this? Yes. But this particular one lets us, at least when we're deploying headlesses to new places, just set those two flags, and then it will just perform a quick validation just before it starts up and crash if it doesn't. And that will, enable it to be triggering, like alerting and monitoring on dashboards and things like that.